What's good? I want to share my song with y'all. This joint, see? The Chase. It's the folks I got it in with. I pinned this. You know what I'm talking about? I'm the author of this. Let's get to this. Just so y'all can hear it, get a taste of it. Feels like an eternity since we first begun. One many belongs to the one. Tell me, is there destiny for you? Not to be as one, together forever and ever, entangled like a spider's web. Well spun, time and time again, I ask what it is about you, but I'm unanswered. I have not a clue. Time elapses and I think I have my feelings subdued, but then I see you and they are renewed. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a race, running neck and neck, but then I'm in first place. So far yet so close to the very end, and by all best, I'm sure to win.
Hey, I'm the one and only Levester Joe Green II. And I'm also known by other names such as Sly, Joe, Vest, Big City Joe from my radio days, Now Lady Joe from my go-go days, Super City Joe, my college affiliates, LJG II, that's my poetry pen name, one of them, G2, L, V, J, L Vest, Love Star Ja Great II. My blog is Dual too, so you can check that out and look that up. I consider myself a written word creative artist, also known as a poet, and a former on-air personality at WSSB of South Carolina State University. I've had my works published in the Prince George's Community College Reflections Literature Magazine, the Collegian, that's the South Carolina State University News, published in the Trilogy, the University of the District of Columbia School newspaper. And this is my story. You can use that. Mother, may I? Would you mind if I go be with my kind? Of course not. No doubt you'd be relieved. Smooth transition, no one grieved, and all goals achieved. The woman of my life, my one and only wife to which I cleave. No room for mama now, so now I leave. Better late than never. Better now than never. Thank you dearly for the inspiration, my mother of two nations. May the righteous rule righteously and fully enjoy the right to be free. Born free, presented to society by Miss Liberty, the soldier of truth. Wisdom of ages taught from the roots. Brought through the stages of transition, sent on a mission filled to completion. How you doing? Mother, may I?
stayed in the books a lot. He even had with his little friends when they were little, they would always come on Saturday morning waiting to go to the library. And we stayed in the library all day, just about. I would pick up a newspaper and I'd read from the weather all the way back to the comic strips or the obituaries and everything. And he would sit down and he would pick up the newspaper and he would go through the paper too. When he was just a little boy, when he was born, he was on radio. He don't remember, I know. Baby Day or something like that, so they had him on there crying or something like that.
I used to like take my mother's songs, like her 45 disc. I mean, not disc, we ain't had disc back then, but her 45 singles, and like just put music in order and make tapes. You know, them joints are long lost. And if they ever resurface, which I doubt, because in the black community, we tend to re-record over cassettes, unfortunately. So I doubt it's still in existence, but it may be. But I used to take the songs and put them in order, and you know, just kind of tell a story with it.
Did you want to say something about the tapes, Vest? You said I was maybe not getting to the heart of it. Yeah.
Oh, I was talking. Well, it's two different tapes. One of them was the mixtapes from school that I was making when I was on the radio. You know, just music tapes. I'm not sure if you heard any of those, like when I came back from school. And the other one was the tape that I made when I was little, out of all your 45 records.
Oh, yeah.
So both of those are in the questions.
Yeah, because see, I would do my poetry, I would put it to music.
Oh, wow.
Instead of that. You know, go into my little room, go into my little haven and play on. But it was something else that he used to do. Oh, I remember when he was at South Carolina, Orangeburg, he called me one night and said, I'm on the radio. And I said, you what? I said, I hope I'm not on there. But they had let him do
the DJing? Or
the DJing of it, and he was just so excited about it. I said, well, at least he got an experience in it.
Yeah.
You know?
True.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's when I was saying that was kind of like it was a thrill for me, and it's like the report that I wrote in like 7th or 8th grade for English class. And that was my aspiration, to be an on-air radio broadcaster. I went there in the spring of '92, down on the Greyhound, and I seen this guy carrying some 12-inch vinyls on the bus, sitting in the back of the Greyhound, and it caught my eye and my interest. So I asked him, what's up with you? What you gonna do with that? What you do? You DJ? I'm like, yeah, you know. I kind of rock the parties. And he kind of put me on to where to go, where I should go once we got there. Turns out we was going to the same place. I wasn't ever an official DJ mixologist, say like Shakim, with the turntables and all, but I became an on-air radio personality rather. You know, the person you hear in between the songs and kind of the conductor on the train. And that was my theme on my cassette tape, you know, like, woo, get aboard, get on aboard the Big City Express. Money green, money and honey, money green. Cha-ching, straight dough, no checking. But you can't get back in heaven. Jesus walked, so get the step in. Wasn't even talking about the weapons. Just these females with their lips and lips and
Next question Levester had was, let me know that you're a bit of a poet yourself. Anything you'd like to say about that?
Well, I love poetry, and matter of fact, I was doing poetry, and then it seemed like he picked up the trade of it.
I think that's Jay-Z's moniker. I mean, even though poetry isn't exactly rap, but he claims to be the MJ of rap. So, yeah, I guess, you know, it gets technical then. You know, you the MJ of rap, I'm the MJ of poetry.
You can write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You control me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you because I walk like I got gold mines in the middle of my thighs? But still, like dust, I'll rise.
I'm on the old Fox farm, cause that's where they put me at and told me to disarm, cause I was too much cause for alarm, something like Saddam.
I remember when he wrote a poem about his girlfriend. I think it was called, what was it, Sly? Or but anyway, he wrote one just for her, you know, and you know, to tell how he felt about things and stuff. And I said, ooh, that's pretty good. And then he got it published. I said, go ahead, bro. You're doing great.
30 years in the dark with nothing on but a devilish grin. Thinking about his evil deed and fully prepared to indulge in sin. His eyes glow, and in every stare, his eyes glow with every stare, and he flicks out as he flicks out his tongue. He can taste it in the air. He goes into action, and it's like poetry in motion. But to the untrained eye, it looks like a lot of commotion. Up and down, the movement is vigorous. Does he love this or is it lust? Only with his basic instinct and his wit. He ends the event suddenly and rather quick. The job is over, and to that there is no doubt. So with that thought, he decides to slide out. This isn't at all about the love we make. And if you thought so, then take a second take. It's about a day in the life during the meal of a snake. Love maker, that's my jam, that's my joy. This is like my first joint, 91, nigga. Bam, love maker.
What's that one about?
Got your mind boggling.
What inspired that one?
When you like to love.
Yeah.
My muse at the time, my muse. So, I mean, I ended up starting my family while I was away. I came back home. I ended up at UDC, 96, 97.
Come back to raise your family like you were saying, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But that's a whole, well, I already spoke on that part, so I guess you'll have to edit and chop and mix and like you will, you know. It's a long story. So, I mean, I'm speaking career-wise now.
Yeah, we don't have to include that. I was just
I mean, like I say, you already got that information, so.
It's your film, so you'll decide if you want to put it in or not.
I leave that to your discretion. I mean, that's what I wanted to speak on originally, you know. There's a lot of loose ends.
Yeah.
But it's going to take more than 20 minutes to address it. Yeah, things were kind of falling apart there. From UDC, I kind of worked backwards because I went from a 4-year school to UDC, which is, they try and call it the 13th grade, DC 13th grade, as well as PG 13th grade. PG is a 2-year school, but UDC was still a 4-year college, you know. But I ended up going backwards from South Carolina State to UDC to Prince George's, and then I got like 2 more schools after that. You know, Rockville Computer Institute, and finally UMUC, you know. But those was over the years. And I basically stayed on my field at all those schools, communications. You know, I took photography at UDC, I took graphic arts at PG, as well as black studies. And I took a web design and development at Rockville Institute. That's when I first started coming out this way, you know, getting familiar with this area. And UMUC, that's kind of my current events right there. When I was down Norfolk, I became homeless down Norfolk in that area. And I can fill in the details in between if you want, but.
Yeah, when were you in Norfolk? When does that fall into the?
That was 2006. You know, I'm on my way to work. A guy asked me, did I want to work one morning? I'm like, yeah, sure. Because that was originally why I went down Norfolk. Because I couldn't get a job up here anymore. So even though it was like temp jobs available down there, something is better than nothing. So that's how I ended up down there. But it still was messed up because you could make, say, $35, $40 in a day doing temp work, but the hotel costs $45. So you're still short. Or you still gotta go in with somebody else, scratching and surviving. I worked at temp agency those 2-3 days, and one morning the guy, he falsely accused me of stealing 50-cent donuts. When I had a $10 bill, $5.50 in quarters, because I was about to wash clothes, and an uncashed check from the day before. Get on the ground. I said, get on the ground. I'm like, what? And there's 2 of them. And before I could even say anything else, what? And I couldn't defend myself. So I had no choice but to get down and be framed for 30 days. You know, he looked at my bags, never checked the bags because everything was zipped up. And I heard him put in the assumption that he must have ate it, and he probably ate it and discarded it, you know. Something they wanted to really sweep under the rug because he realized he broke my arm when I yelled out in agony, screaming and telling him he broke my arm. You just broke my arm. So they call the ambulance. I'm sitting in the back of the squad car for like half an hour. cursing this guy out in his ear, calling him all types of smucks and idiots and fools, everything I could think of, for displaying this poor judgment on me, disrupting me from making a living. And what did I do? Make a living? You disapprove? It's minimum wage. It's a temp job. I stay at the shelter. What the fuck? So I got a broken arm, nowhere to stay, and no glasses. Yet I'm this determined to get out of this bad situation, in spite of their efforts, their best efforts against me. You know, I was basically in disarray, but UMUC sent me one of those free admission cards. So that's how I ended up there, because I didn't have, any money at that point. So with my $10 and $5 and quarters, an uncashed check, with $34 uncashed check. So there wasn't much money to do nothing. Had to make that last, stretch that out. Let me see, I make it through September, October, and we get to November when my class, my Spanish class is about to start. And that's when, all this time the police, the campus police are harassing me, following me around campus, because I'm around all day. I don't really go anywhere else. I'm just around trying to make my way around, trying to stay warm, dealing with my situation, my drastic setbacks. They already give me write me 3 tickets saying I'm loitering or trespassing. Trespassing is what it was. And I'm like, that's impossible, because I'm a student, I'm enrolled here. So I follow up all 3 of those times with administration, and they rescind them. Say, yeah, they're crazy. Why are they harassing you, So they wipe all 3 of them out. And then one night, I catch up. I made some new friends. And then some friends from the radio station. I guess I made an impression on them, an impact, and vice versa. So they took me in and we hung out all night. And then, I ended up in the dorm. I spoke on this before, but I ended up in the dorm overnight, just hanging out. I think it was around still football season, still winter. So I was glad to get out the cold. Had plans to take my shower and all that stuff, but I ended up watching TV. And so I was there by myself eventually, as everybody nodded off for the night and knocked off. So the janitor came there in the morning. I think of what a Bugs Bunny move or Groucho Marx move, put up a newspaper and play it off or something. Then I say, nah, I think better say, nah, ain't no disguise, I'm gonna die as a man, Tupac. Listen to it too much, right? But anyway, I go out the front door and confront them. What's up? And it's an officer from before who ran this whole story about he was gonna lock me up next time he see me or for trespassing or something. The same thing that got rescinded 3 times before. That's what he ends up doing, locking me up, And so that's another 30 days. That took me, that wiped out my November. Basically ruined my semester, because I couldn't recover from that one. By the time I got out, it was, finals. So I get locked up. I don't even take meds, but I'm in the medical facility. And, they calling brothers out for meds and whatnot. So I'm thirsty. I say, let me get some water from this water fountain. He telling me no, well, drink it out the sink in your cell. And I'm telling him nah. So I get my water anyway. So he calls, reports this in like it's a big deal or something. You know, he causing me problems, additional problems. Shouldn't even be there in the first place. But so the goon squad show up on me. You know, they talking, they huddled up and trying to get their play together. I'm in the cell doing me, rapping, you know, bouncing off the walls, echoing, doing me. And they trying to say they feeling intimidated. So the Bama maced me and shit. And they jumped me, started stomping me in this little small ass cell. Cell smaller than this room, cut in half. And then some more compact. And then you got another nigga in it. The other cellmate wasn't in there at the time. They ISO'd me. So they do that joint. I'm lumped up. I ain't really lumped up. I ain't no bruises or nothing. But they strip me, take my clothes off. I'm walking down the hall corridor butt naked. And Obama recording the joint the whole time. They got a record of it. Don't nobody want to play by the rules. So the Bama's stealing me. They surrounded me. I'm just walking. I'm just taking their motherfucking shit, like, cause they don't faze me. You know, stealing me, go. Getting their cheap shots in. I'm like, all right, dog. I mean, I got my cash on the whole time. So surely I could, but that's just gonna escalate, you know. Then they already out of pocket, out of hand to me. So they ain't looking to play or fight fair at all at this point. Well, yeah, I'm thinking maybe I should have cracked at least 1 or 2, 3 good skulls. But I wasn't ready for my story to end at that point, behind bars. My street people doing whatever they have to do to get through it. Just happy to be alive and to have survived it. That live shit, yeah, that get to it. In the streets, you gotta eat, so I be on the grind, the hustle 7 days a week, trying to compete. The meek shall not get what they seek if they don't speak. Come greet the great, man. We can exchange handshakes, discuss the take and get things straight. No debate, the hour's late. Let's participate, don't just hate, mate. Street people, congregate. You hear me? Let me see, that's 2006. So I went back home. My brother convinced my mother to let me back in 2007. I stayed for maybe 6 months, something like that. So, and then I went back on the homeless circuit up here. You know, I floated down to Franklin Park, McPherson Square, and then finally at McPherson Square, this woman just gave me the notion, where you going from here? And she kind of pointed me towards up top to Tinley, you know, where the eagles are, where the eagles gather. And so there it is. That's where I ended up. I eventually made it into American University Library. You know, at first I didn't feel welcome because some security guards came down on me, and I was like, oh no, not this again. You know, but they haven't bothered me since. So, guess we cool peoples now, or something. Or I got the right connect.
I guess he found more freedom out in the street. And he don't like to be shut in or closed up or nothing like that. So he had to spread his wings, and that's the way he did it. Yeah, all right, son. You take care now.
Thanks a lot.
All right.